And today I want to challenge the way we look at cybersecurity. You guys remember the Fram oil filter commercial? Pay me now or pay me a whole lot later. Well, if you think, and there are some who do, that cybersecurity is a luxury or a cost center, think again. It's a business imperative, a boardroom priority, and in some cases, it's a matter of life or death. The rules of engagement have changed. The battlefield is everywhere in our inboxes, our supply chains, our smart devices, even our refrigerators. Attackers are relentless, creative, and increasingly automated. Defenders must be perfect. Now, cybersecurity isn't about building higher walls. It's about developing and implementing smarter strategies. It's about understanding that every organization, no matter the size, no matter the industry, is a target. Now, once breaches were seen as exceptions, but today they become the third certainty in life behind death and taxes. How well we prepare will define not just our security, but perhaps our very survival. The Cold War is over. We're now in a cyber war that's fought daily across industries and borders, without front lines or ceasefires. Unlike nuclear weapons, there are no treaties or deterrence regimes with cyber weapons. The rules are different, asymmetric, and unfair. Now, let's take a minute to look at our most powerful adversaries, nation states. Russia has used cyber attacks as a tool of warfare and propaganda for decades. Beyond well-chronicled attempts to interfere with elections across the globe, Russian hackers have targeted government agencies, power grids, banking systems, Fortune 500 companies, and media outlets to conduct espionage, steal data, and foster chaos. China has burrowed into every corner of our critical infrastructure. The Chinese Communist Party, they've long viewed hacking as a vehicle for state-sponsored development. Its hackers have systematically engaged in theft of everything from intellectual property and aerospace designs to pharmaceutical formulas. North Korea has augmented its taxes and tariffs with the spoils of cybercrime. The Lazarus Group, which operates out of China but works for the Hermit Kingdom, has stolen billions in cryptocurrency to fund its nuclear development program and other regime priorities. Iran has used cyber attacks to disrupt and retaliate. Iranian groups have targeted financial institutions, oil companies, and critical infrastructure in the U.S. and the Middle East. Now, while all these countries have different objectives, they have the same strategy: use cyber as a low-cost, high-impact weapon against their adversaries. Then there are government-sponsored hacking groups and independent criminal contractors with names like Scattered Spider, Lapsus, Lockbit, Darkside, Shiny Hunters, Black Cat, and the Crimson Collective. Now, while they sound like comic book villains, they're relentless, sophisticated, and obsessively profit-driven. They're cyber-armed and dangerous. Now, some groups are loose confederation of hackers, others are more corporate. They have payrolls, they recruit talent, they have R&D divisions to develop new malware. Some even offer customer service desks to negotiate ransoms or help victims pay in cryptocurrency. DarkSide was behind the 2021 Colonial Pipeline incident, where a single compromised password to a VPN led to a ransomware attack that ultimately forced the company to shut down fuel deliveries to the entire east coast of the U.S., and as you remember, this caused a lot of panic buying and gas shortages. Scattered Spider, the masters of turning your help desk into their privileged credentials candy store, brought MGM Resorts to its knees in 2023. The Black Cat Group launched a ransomware attack against Change Healthcare in 2024 that disrupted our healthcare system, delayed claims and payments, exposed sensitive patient data, and impacted over 192 million Americans. Now, Brian Krebs reported recently that a newly formed confederation of Lapsus, Scattered Spider, and Shiny Hunters recently launched a website threatening to expose over 1 billion records that were siphoned from scores of Fortune 500 corporations acquired by way of a voice phishing campaign that tricked targets into connecting malicious apps to their organization's Salesforce portals. Now, this one-to-many approach is pretty reminiscent of the 2020 Cozy Bear attack on SolarWinds. You remember SolarWinds? They're the tech company that boasted the most complex password ever. SolarWinds 123. Multiple federal agencies and numerous companies discovered suddenly that they had unwittingly installed network backdoors for Russian hackers by simply updating their software on the SolarWinds Orion platform. In 2025, cybercrime has become a multi-trillion-dollar global industry. Reported ransomware payments alone exceeded $1 billion last year, and that doesn't include the very real cost of downtime, lost productivity, legal fees, regulatory penalties and fines, and brand damage. Cyber insurance, which is meant to be a safety net, has become a ransom payment pipeline. Criminals know that big companies have big insurance policies, so they tailor ransom demands accordingly. In adversarial nations, criminals who attack Western companies, they're rarely prosecuted. In fact, many are celebrated. But in the past few years, U.S. law enforcement agencies have joined forces with Interpol and nailed a few of these guys. So the question is, why are we so vulnerable? And the answer is simple. Our attackable surface has experienced a supernova-like expansion. Once, security was about defending castles. There were walls, moats, drawbridges, and keeps. Defenders had a pretty good idea of where things were coming from. Today, these castles have been subsumed by sprawling cities of interconnected devices, apps, vendors, partners, employees, and cloud services, millions of entry points, all active all the time. Now, the Internet of Things has also exponentially expanded our exposure. Billions of connected devices, from cars and cameras to TVs and thermostats, they're now online. Each collects data. Each has software. Each is a potential gateway for an attacker. Studies show that more than half of IoT devices have known vulnerabilities, and the cheaper the device, the less likely it was designed and built to any kind of security standard. Okay, now this is one of my favorite cautionary tales. In 2018, a casino was hacked through an internet-connected fish tank thermometer. Let that one sink in. Hackers accessed the network through the aquarium's temperature monitoring system and then stole customer data. If a fish tank can be an entry point, anything can. Which brings me to my next point. Every digital footprint is forever. Every search, every purchase, every location ping, that creates a data trail, and I try to explain that to my 13-year-old every day. Those footprints never simply fade away. They're collected, aggregated, sold, resold, and far too often stolen. These days, hackers don't have to break into your systems. They can just buy your information on the dark web or find a friendly data broker. And if all this wasn't enough, say hello to the new elephant in the room, artificial intelligence. AI is not a future trend or a buzzword. It's already reshaping the cyber battlefield in real time, and it's very much a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it enables defenders to detect threats faster and respond more intelligently than ever. On the other, it's supercharging cybercriminal capabilities and helping to facilitate attacks at scale and sophistication unlike anything we've ever seen before. The question is no longer if AI will be used in cyber, but which side will harness it more effectively. AI has amplified the capabilities of cybercriminals. They're adopting AI-powered tools at breakneck speed, leveraging AI's power to find vulnerabilities and craft exploits far more efficiently. And in 2025, there has been an embarrassment of vulnerability riches. In just the first half of this year, more than 20,000 were disclosed, with nearly 35% of them having publicly available exploit code. Finally, some businesses are paying attention. I mean, what does it tell you when Apple has just doubled its bug bounty from 1 million to 2 million? AI impacts all levels of cybercrime and ratchets up threats across the board, from social engineering to malware. And let me give you some examples. Generative AI has slashed the time needed to craft convincing spear phishing scams from 16 hours to roughly 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Emails are no longer obvious or clumsy. They're polished. They can mimic the way a boss or a colleague writes. Hackers can instruct AI to use the way an organization normally communicates to make the bait extremely convincing. Because modern AI languages can fluently create content in any language or dialect, criminals can launch flawless spear phishing and business email compromise attacks in English, Mandarin, Spanish, Arabic, whatever works. Global organizations now face highly localized attacks written to sound like native speakers. Markets that were previously off limits due to linguistic and cultural nuances are now wide open to attack. But perhaps the most insidious development, this to me the scariest, is AI-generated malware that can rewrite its own code. In the past, defenders could identify malware by recognizing static code signatures put in place to verify the source and authors of a program. Researchers really recently demonstrated a proof of concept polymorphic AI malware, and I think it was ESAT, that continually regenerates its code while preserving its initial purpose. Every time it runs, it looks different to antivirus scanners. This means traditional defenses based on known signatures or predictable patterns are becoming less effective. In essence, the malware evolves like a living organism. So as defenders, we're now forced to hunt by behavior and intent as code-focused detection grows unreliable. Now let's talk about deepfakes. AI's ability to fake voices and video has introduced a terrifying new vector for fraud. A disturbing example occurred early last year. The Hong Kong subsidiary of global engineering firm Arup was conned out of $25 million by attackers using AI-generated deepfake. An employee joined what he believed was a video conference with the company's CFO and finance team. He saw their faces, he heard their voices, and he was instructed to urgently transfer funds. In reality, every person on that call, other than the target employee, was a deepfake. The voices, the faces, they were perfectly synthesized by AI. And they were so convincing, he wired the money without hesitation. None of the firm's systems were hacked. None of the firm's systems were hacked. Instead, the hackers weaponized human trust with, quote, technology-enhanced social engineering. Now, this case underscores how AI can facilitate highly sophisticated impersonation scams, making us question whether the face on the screen is real or not. And in CrowdStrike's 2025 threat hunting report, it refers to aggressive identity-based tradecraft, in other words, social engineering, as a major cause of intrusions, far outpacing malware. AI has lowered the barrier to entry for cybercrime and fueled a staggering number of attacks. The CIO of Arup, which I mentioned above, he said it best. If cyber attacks were bullets, we'd all be crawling on the floor because thousands of rounds would be coming through the window every second. 5 years ago, carrying out advanced attacks using custom malware or novel ransomware required significant skill. Today, the dark web offers plug-and-play cybercrime as a service, and now AI is doing the heavy lifting. Threat actors no longer need to painstakingly write malware from scratch or hire expert coders. They can simply leverage the equivalent of off-the-shelf AI tools to automate everything. In short, The increasing commoditization of AI has led to the democratization of cybercrime. For a modest licensing fee, someone with zero coding skills can run an exploit kit, feed it into a generative AI model, and quickly create tailored phishing campaigns, malware code, and even deepfake content. This means that any amateur with an internet connection, a credit card, or access to a crypto wallet can become a cyber threat actor. A recent survey report noted that mentions of malicious dark AI tools on cybercrime forums skyrocketed by, wait for it, 219% in 2024, and those are just mentions. Tools like Worm GPT, essentially a jailbroken ChatGPT for criminals, gained thousands of users and paying subscribers within months. Now, it's an uncomfortable truth. Attackers have been quicker to adopt AI than defenders. The reason for this imbalance is, well, cybercriminals face zero oversight. They aren't slowed down by compliance checks or ethics reviews or legal approvals. They never ask, should we do this? Only, can it help us steal? They're fundamentally pragmatists. If a tool works, they use it. In contrast, many organizations are still treading cautiously with AI, debating policies and worrying about potential pitfalls. While corporate stakeholders form committees to discuss responsible AI use, threat actors are charging ahead and weaponizing AI in any way possible, and the gap is widening daily. A Darktrace survey of security professionals in 2024 found that fewer half of companies had a formal strategy for using AI in their security program, and even fewer staff members truly understood the AI tools at their disposal. Meanwhile, studies show that 78% of CISOs are already feeling significant impacts from AI-powered threats. So as defenders, we can't simply afford to lag in AI adoption because the longer we wait, the more we cede the advantage to our adversaries. Now, to be clear, this does not mean that companies should deploy AI without proper governance, because it's vital that all stakeholders in an organization are aware that AI is in play. That means no shadow AI and is being properly monitored and protected from compromise. Now, fortunately, AI is the most powerful tool that defenders have ever had. It can be an early warning system, a rapid response unit, a post-attack safety net. When used properly, it can be used as a force multiplier for security teams, helping catch things we'd otherwise miss and respond at machine speed. Now, here are several ways that AI shifts the balance back in our favor. Modern organizations generate terabytes of logs and data every day. No human can manually sift through all of that, but AI can. Machine learning models excel at establishing a normal baseline of behavior and then flagging the one log interactivity that doesn't fit. For example, AI-based monitoring can instantly spot a user logging in from a country the employee has never visited, or detect a sudden spike in database read volume at 2 in the morning. These subtle anomalies, a dev account trying to access financial records, an admin downloading far more data than usual, this often indicates an intrusion or insider misuse. Properly configured AI doesn't get tired, doesn't miss patterns. It can catch a 1 in a million outlier event that could be the early warning of an attack. Many breaches that hadn't been discovered until it was too late can now be identified at the suspicious behavior stage before major damage is done. Now, AI is helping us move from reactive security to proactive defense. By analyzing historical incidents data and global threat intelligence, AI can forecast potential attacks so that organizations can shore up defenses in advance. If AI models notice a pattern of related vulnerabilities being exploited elsewhere, they can warn that an organization is likely to be the next target. Or if certain anomalous behaviors often precede a ransomware attack, like there are spikes in file renames coupled with disabled security services, AI can raise an alarm before encryption starts. This gives defenders time to act, We can isolate assets, patch systems, update rules, rather than simply responding after the fact. While predictive analysis and security is still evolving, it sure beats purely reactive postures. In an era of zero-day exploits and machine speed attacks, such foresight is priceless. In cyber defense, speed is everything. The faster you detect and contain an attack, the less harm it can do. AI-driven security systems can take action in milliseconds. For example, if malware is detected on any endpoint, think laptop, smartphone, IoT device, an AI-based endpoint protection platform can automatically quarantine the malicious file or even isolate the host from the network immediately. Cloud security AI might detect a user account behaving suspiciously and instantly lock the account or revoke its access. Network AI sensors can identify hacker-directed traffic and block the offending IP or domain on the fly. These automated responses can neutralize threats before an analyst has even read the alert. Identity security AI can detect when a login is anomalous and force multi-factor authentication or disable the session immediately. Automation buys time for human responders and can prevent a contained incident from turning into a full-blown breach. Of course, fine-tuning is important. You want AI to err on the side of safety without too many false positives, but the bottom line is that autonomous response drastically shrinks the window of opportunity for attackers. So when a breach does happen, AI can help reconstruct the attack timeline much faster than manual efforts. Investigating an incident often means piecing together millions of log entries, alerts, and artifacts to figure out what happened, a task tailor-made for AI's pattern recognition. In the past, forensic teams would spend weeks painstakingly sorting through logs to trace an attacker's steps from initial access to data exfiltration. By rapidly stitching together who did what and when, AI accelerates incident response and helps contain damage sooner. It can identify and enumerate compromised systems and even suggest what the heck the attackers were looking for. Now, this not only shortens downtime, but it also enables defenders to identify, isolate, and remove the threat and ensure that it stays out. Not all threats come from the outside, though. You know that. AI can also catch malicious or risky insider behavior that might slip past traditional security monitoring. By learning normal user behavior patterns, when you log in, what systems you usually access, how much data you typically handle, AI can sound an alert when an employee or contractor begins acting out of character. In short, AI helps to identify potential compromising activity before data walks out the door. Then there's also the human factor. Security Operations Centers, or SOCs, are infamous for alert overload. An analyst might face literally thousands of alerts a day, most of them low priority or false positives, leading to alert fatigue where critical warnings are overlooked. This constant data deluge contributes to high burnout. Roughly 35 to 44% of SOC analysts report burnout symptoms, and their average tenure is only 1 to 3 years. But AI offers a lifeline by triaging and filtering the noise. Advanced AI-driven SOC platforms now ingest all the alerts, filter out the trivial or duplicate ones, bubble up the truly serious threats, and provide context automatically. The result is fewer and more actionable alerts for humans to handle. By some estimates, AI-based triage can reduce an analyst's workload by over 70%. And this is especially vital because 51% of security alerts occur outside normal business hours. Now, no human team can stay fully alert around the clock, but an AI monitor, it never sleeps. It handles routine detections and responses autonomously, only escalating to people when complex decisions are required. This not only improves response time, but also lets the security team focus on higher strategy and proactive threat hunting rather than drowning in a tsunami of alerts. And keep in mind, a less overwhelmed SOC is a more effective SOC. So as we wrap up, let's be clear. The threats are real, the stakes are high, and the pace of change is only accelerating. Cybersecurity is not a box to check or a project to finish. It's a core business function, a daily discipline, a shared responsibility. The price of prevention is always less than the cost of a breach, financially, reputationally, and operationally. And here's how we gain the upper hand. Reframe cybersecurity as a business survival issue and make it a standing agenda item in every board and every leadership meeting. Invest in your people. Relentless training, clear protocols, and a culture of vigilance are your first and best line of defense. Adopt a zero trust mindset. Trust nothing. Verify everything and segment access ruthlessly. Don't let the other guys outpace you. Leverage AI and automation by investing in AI driven security tools, training your team to work alongside AI in a human plus machine partnership, and crafting an AI strategy that aligns with your business and threat profile. Now, if you listen to Bill Maher, he has a show every week. He's obsessed about robots taking over the world. I am not talking about handing everything over to robots, but it's about augmenting human experience with AI speed and scale. Now, look, no question, AI will bring new risks and uncertainties, but it also brings unprecedented capabilities to improve cybersecurity, from real time threat detection and automated containment to predictive threat prevention. In cybersecurity, there are no medals for second place, none. No participation trophies, no victory laps, because you can be secure at 9 a.m. and compromised at 9:01. So I want to thank you for your attention, and may your networks and your aquariums stay secure.